Afternoon, Chris. Just maybe give us some of the reasons why so many changes and your thought process in picking the team like this. Obviously, you guys only need a point to qualify, but just maybe go through some of those first.
Hi, Brendan. So basically, it's just part of player welfare and rotation. If you look at Rossouw has played basically every minute, almost like this since the start of the season. So it's just making sure we maintain his welfare. The same with Harold Foster. Since his injury that he came back, he's been obviously in every game up until the end. And then just a part of the rotation and planning we had before probably the beginning of the year. So it's just following that process, and we feel this team can do the job for us. And then we've got a solid bench coming up.
And just maybe your outlook, given the fact that you still just need 1 point to qualify. Obviously, you guys are going to be going for the win, but it's your first time in France. Just maybe talk a bit about that.
In any game, the win is important for us. The most important thing is basically the process. I think the last 2 games, we managed the game quite well, and we just like to continue in terms of how we manage the game. That momentum is important for us. First time in France, so obviously that will be experience. Obviously extremely cold at the moment, you have snow. So it'll be a great challenge for us. The guys is quite excited. We know Lyon will probably pick their best side. They still got a chance to making it, even though it's a mathematical chance that they'll go full out at it. For us, it will be just to see how we can handle that pressure. And like I said, making sure that the lessons we've learned just last year, and the last couple of games, so we can maintain that momentum in terms of how we manage the game.
Just in terms of the couple of, I know you explained now about the rotation of players, but also nice to see Corner Heineken coming in and combine someone like Wandisile Simelani, who's been doing quite well. But of course, Harold is a very different player to Cornell. Harold's very direct, but Cornell perhaps more of a playmaker there at 12. How do you see that combo going?
Yeah, it's quite exciting. Obviously, like I said, it's good to give Harold a complete break. What Harold gives us is always a lot of solidness and game management, and then Cornell just gives us a little bit extra in terms of X factor. So for him, one is to provide that for us within the conditions, but also be able to show how they can control and manage the game and remaining solid.
And just in terms of the conditions, I mean, Willem Strauss has sent us a pic of the snow there in Lyon. How bad is it? And do you have to change anything in your approach because of the conditions?
No, currently, if I look out the window, obviously the snow has stopped. It's just overcast. I think it's extremely cold, so that obviously will have an influence, but our approach will remain the same. So it's just how we manage those moments within that game. So it'll be interesting. We're playing at 9. It's a late game. It will be first for us to play that late under this extreme cold. I think last time that was that cold was at Exeter, but we played I think 1 o'clock and it cleared up a little bit that day. So for us, it's just the game plan will more or less be the same, and see how we can manage that big moments with the team on the field.
So I know from me, Nizamko at number 8. I know he played blindside last week and he's got the skills to play across the back row, but Ulrich Rau also a very different type of number 8. What do you want to see from Nizam on Friday?
No, again, Nizam's got a nice mix between being direct and obviously connecting with the backs. So his responsibility will be to continue what Ulrich gave us, and then we'll obviously add on linking with the backs. It's different conditions, so you'll need to make sure he does that job first, and then from a leader point of view, making sure that we control the team and setting a good example.
How's it, Chris? Yeah, I was also going to ask about that lovely white caked field that you guys might play on. Is that even playable in terms of surface? You haven't heard anything about the game being in jeopardy?
No, not as far as we know. It's an artificial pitch, so obviously that's a little bit different to a normal pitch, which gets quite easily frozen. I just saw follow-up pictures that we got now, where they obviously clearing the field with obviously a tractor and some sort of a sleeve, and then yeah. So I think it's going to continue. I haven't seen too many games being cancelled this side of the world, so I think they prepped for that. I can't see that field will be frozen. So for us, I presume if it's going to snow, I'm not sure. It looks like it could clear up at that stage, but then they'll obviously clear it with that machinery of yours.
Yeah, and is there any worry in terms of the pitches that you guys have to play on? I mean, you go from hard South African ground, you play 4G, and I think Jake kind of shielded a guy like Johan Goosen from a 4G pitch, and now you're playing in the artificial snowy Lyon pitch, you know? Like, this must be a new world for you guys.
No, you're spot on. I think it's obviously extreme. We were playing in 35 degrees in training last week, and now we're in sub 0 degrees on an artificial pitch with snow. So you can just imagine what the players go through. Obviously, again, another long travel. But over time, we've come to a point where we obviously embrace this challenge and see it as a positive. So it's going to be interesting. I know it'll give you some challenges. We haven't played on an artificial when it's snowy, but I presume it will be a little bit more, the ball will skid a little bit more. Yeah, so last time we played again was against Glasgow, where they made the pace obviously quite high. This time it will be probably a little bit difficult with the snow. Yeah,
and just final one for me, with the pitch in mind and the weather in mind, you know, guys like Kurtley, Kanan and Cornell, to some respect, you know, love the ball in their hands. I mean, Kurtley was man of the match and brilliant in the last outing. I mean, do you see them being as effective, you know, in this pitch, or is it going to be too inhibitive, you know, to see the best of their skills?
Conditions will always limit your skill set. The challenge would be for these players to make sure that they develop themselves to a more complete play where they can play in all conditions. I mean, a guy like Kurtley will make you look silly on any surface. I don't think you will be limited. The challenge would be to make sure that you have that traditional approach which they have in conditions that's more conservative. And that's basically where the game management control would have a great effect, and see how they can manage that. And I know those players want to have the ball in the hands. So like I said, for them it would be how can they assess the conditions and then apply what's needed. And that's, I mean, that basically it separates the good players from the great players. So that will be their challenge. But like I said, if it's going to be not snowing and just clear skies, extremely cold, the service would be fine. I think it could be a little bit slippery, but if it's not the case, I think they would be comfortable to express their skill sets in any case.
I guess the good thing, and it's obviously because of all the work you guys have done in the weeks and months leading up to now, is that even though you make a whole lot of changes, it doesn't really feel like a B-side. It's got that sort of mix of, you know, of first choice players, if you like, but obviously able to rest some guys as well.
Yeah, I think you got spot on. So it's important if you're in the group that you put your name on the team sheet as a player that can play these games. The more we do that, the more you grow the group, and that's part of Jake's plan. And it's important that when you get the opportunity, you can show that you are a player that can execute the game plan in the first 60, and then the guys that come as impact players can finish that job. So there's different roles in either starting or coming off the bench. So sometimes if you confuse the two, then you've got guys that wants to come on and prove themselves. So the idea is to make a solid group where you can put any team on the field, and there's not a mention of a weaker side. Okay, so that's basically what the long-term plan is. And every opportunity, we know it's going to be extremely difficult. We know Lyon is, I think they're currently top 6 in top 14, so they are an extremely good team. I know Saracens, when they came here, just beat them, I think 28-20 right in the last second. So it's going to be a great challenge, but it's obviously for us an opportunity to see how we can grow our depth in terms of how we manage, like I said, the big moments. And for any player, you want to be in that bracket where you get seen as a player that likes to manage these games. And once you do that, you get a group of 25, 30 players that can play any game.
And Chris, obviously you guys are going for the win, but needing just 1 point to qualify, is it kind of worth taking a few more risks to try and get 4 tries?
Yeah, for us, the most important goal for this week is basically maintaining the momentum of our process and how we and our decision making. So you can get to a stage where you want to chase the game or that bonus point if you get 4 tries. But for us,